Hey, everybody. I'm here with Tom, the Infinite Craftsman and creator of the frogpod.
Thanks for having me, AJ. This is going to be fun.
So you just did your Kickstarter and it went well. Tell me about your Kickstarter.
Sure. So the frog, I should have brought one. I got one. Oh, I can't show you that one. Never mind. I don't have one. I'm prepared. I I did the frog pod. It's a magnetic mount for your phones, lights, cameras, and more. And my goal, I set my goal pretty low at $1,500, and it did that in 4 minutes, which was cool. That was kind of the point. And it ended up, I did 30 days, and it ended up at $30,864, maybe, give or take a few bucks. So that was wildly successful from what I thought it was going to be. But we can talk about expectations are a weird thing with Kickstarter. I don't know if you want to talk about that first, but
Yeah, go
like
for it.
doing a Kickstarter is like buying a lottery ticket.
That you
Uh,
have to work really hard for.
yeah, yeah, you got to drive like 3 hours to get it, and it's a $2 scratch off, and you could win $1,000,000. But you don't get to scratch it off until you're home. I'm going to just keep going with the analogy. And as soon as you get home, you can scratch it off, and you have to spend 6 hours doing that before you get any reward to find out if you've gotten any reward. So,
And then if you win, you have to drive back and forth to the store 100 times.
and collect it $20 at a time.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah. So it's when you're preparing, you're always thinking about the outcome. Like you're just gaming out every possible scenario for a number of reasons. One, you'd like to win the lottery and you'd like to spend $1,000,000 because that's fun. But also you're preparing for production. Like in your case, in my case, I'm making these things. I'm not outsourcing the whole thing to a factory, which is a whole nother level of struggle also. But I would have, if this thing only sold 30 frog pods, I would have made them. And that would have been it. And if it brought in 30,000 frog pods, which is a lot of money, that's stupid money. Um, I would have made them to a point and then started working on a factory, right? So I gamed all of that out, and when might as well talk about the timeline now. Like when it hit 1,500 in 4 minutes, I wasn't surprised because I did have a lot of people like really eager, and I knew that through all my interactions and through my friends from Instagram, and like that wasn't a surprise. That was cool and a fun thing to say. But then it hit like 5 grand, and I was like, okay, it's not a failure, but I didn't make a penny, right? Like in
Mhm.
fact, I lost money if I really count all my time, right? But financially, I didn't lose money. Just I lost life. Um, and
At the
then
5,000 mark.
at the 5,000 mark, right? And then at 10 grand, I was like, okay, I probably I don't want to say broke even, but maybe broke even on actual time spent, right? And effort spent. And that's when I started to like relax. And that was day one. It hit 11,000. Well, it hit almost 12,000 in the first 12 hours, which is just how Kickstarter works, right? That's not necessarily a surprise. The number is, but not how quickly that ramps up. And then it took 29 days to do another uh, oh wow, I can't do math. 20,000, right? Almost 20,000. So it's just weird that way. And it drops off immediately. Like day two is very slow. Day three is even slower. And then it's just like four or five at, at the most a day for the entire rest of the campaign until like the last 2 days. And it doubles that maybe. Um, so it's just wild. So like when I think about the 30,000 number, um, I just want to make sure everybody understands that I'm grateful and that's awesome. But I really feel like the work I put in was exactly what I got out. And if I did it over again, knowing what I know now, which is what we're going to talk about, I would have been able to do more and do it better and gotten more if everything was reset. Like I could have, I know that today I could have done $60,000 had I done things properly. Which sounds like it sucks, and it does, but I still made 30 grand, and that's cool. Um, so I don't want anybody hearing this going, oh, he's not grateful. It's not it at all. I'm just being practical, and I'm telling you like the truth. I hope um, about what those numbers really mean. By the way, I got paid today, and
Oh,
that's cool.
nice.
Yeah, I can share that, right? Because that doesn't really matter. Because like
Sure.
30,000. So, and I'd love to talk numbers. Is that cool with you?
Yep, absolutely. I
Okay.
mean, I'm the
So,
one that used to have my rolling net 30 or rolling gross 30 in my thumbnails.
yeah. Why'd you stop?
Because all of my thumbnails looked exactly the same, and people were confused as to if a video was new or not.
Okay.
Now I
Okay.
just, out of laziness, use the YouTube default one, which probably isn't a whole lot better, but
Well,
it's a little bit
I'll tell
better.
you why I ask. I signed up for your Patreon, and I don't know if you added that to that total, but I kind of wanted to see it, and I don't think
Oh, oh,
you
that's a
did.
good point.
Yeah, not that like I'm not disappointed. I was like, oh, I'm also gonna see it pop up there. That's cool.
You
So
wouldn't see it until the beginning of the next month
no,
because
fair
I
enough.
withdraw it all at the same time. But
Yeah, I would even say go deeper and like list the sales, just so not the names, but like identifiers.
I,
I
I
think
wouldn't be opposed to that.
I think it's fun. Anyways, what was I talking about? Money. Here, 20. Stop it. 27. Is there anything personal in here? No, I'm good.
I can
So
blur it if it is.
$27,624.20. That is after Kickstarter fees, which is 5%, and after the credit card transactions, and after people that didn't follow through and pay, which was super low. I think you had told me like 5% just as a guess. And it was like I think it was under two. I didn't go back and calculate it. So I was happy about that.
I think with my campaigns, I have had well, one, many less backers, and two, higher dollar value items.
Right.
So
That's a
when you
big
have,
that's a big deal right there. The price point.
mm-hmm.
Like doing $1 million with a $40 item,
Yes,
really hard,
yep,
right? Like you need a $200 item, a 300. So you see these crazy big Kickstarter campaigns. It's like, oh, their product is 2 grand,
yeah,
So, and I'm not poo pooing any direction. I'm just, it's different.
yeah, and that's why I think the 3D printer ones tend to do well because you got like an $800 printer, which is
Right.
like a thing that people already want and expected to be, at a certain price point.
Right. Totally. Yeah. So, so I'm down. I'm already down to $27,624. Um, I actually already bought basically everything I need before I got the money. So I haven't tallied that up yet. I don't know the answer, but I know I've spent 20 grand. Mm, I'll say 15 to be on the conservative side, I guess, or the opposite of the conservative side. I spent at least 15 on everything. And that includes sending out like just over 60 frog pods before the campaign even launched. And those were expensive. Those magnets were $2 a piece from Amazon. Um, $2 a piece, and there's three in there. So that was $6 just for that. Um, and then shipping all of those. So I'm like $15 in, rounding up, on like sending out freebies per, times 60, 70. I don't know what that number is, 600, 300, 900, probably $1,000. I know it's over $1,000 because I spent over $1,000 on magnets on Amazon on one listing. I can go look that up. So like there's a lot of There's a lot of things I spent money on. There's things I could have saved money on early on if I was just like, I couldn't have done it differently, but going forward, like the next thing, I know all these things now, so I can just plan better. And if I need magnets for a thing, I'm going straight to Alibaba and I'm doing that first. I don't care. I'll spend $500 on a thing if I know I'm going towards a Kickstarter, and I'll buy a small order of magnets in this case, and do those samples and send those samples out and save myself some money. But this whole thing was so rushed. Um, I'll never do it that way again.
Yep.
Like the next Kickstarter I do, no one will hear about until I'm ready. Like nobody.
So I want to talk about that, but I want to go back a second first here.
Yeah, sorry.
So you said you spent a bunch of money up front before you got, the money from Kickstarter. If you don't mind me asking,
Yeah.
you don't have to answer this. How did you fund that? Is that just all on credit cards? Did you just have it in savings where you could pull it out?
So we actually, I like this topic, but we don't need to get into it. We don't have credit cards. We don't do debt except for our house. We have no debt. We own our cars. I don't even have a credit card. Just personal life choices. The way I explain it is I'm not financially disciplined. So the mechanisms in my life have to fit that. And that means just don't have them. I'm a grown up and I take care of my life and family. but like if we have a card, we're just lazy with it. So we just said, let's not do that anymore. So we just had the money. I don't know. I'm only going to tell part of that story maybe, but we just moved. So we had a bunch of money. Even moving in this market is insane. So we actually borrowed money from my mother just so that we could do a 20% earnest deposit.
Yeah.
You've bought houses.
Yep.
A 20% earnest deposit is like, what the hell is happening to this world?
Yeah.
Usually it's 1%. So when our realtor was like, if you can do 20%, we're like, we can't. We don't have 60 grand. Like we can't do that. Like we live in Connecticut. Stuff's expensive. I forgot you don't edit this, so I won't swear as best I can. So and then that happened, and Kickstarter was going on at the time, and we gave half the money back to my mom, and I was like, can I keep the other half and just start spending that? So that's kind of where that came from. My brother offered to do the same thing, but it just happened that we already had my mother's money. So and we have some money, but there's more. It's not as it wasn't as free as somebody else's money, right? So so after today, I'm writing my mother a big check, and we'll be done with that. And yeah, that's most of the story there.
Okay. So you were self-funded.
Yeah.
With a few caveats in there. Okay.
Yeah.
It's interesting you say that. In terms of like my family personally, we're very similar on debt because we're the same way. We have a hard time. Like you give us a credit card and we will use that credit card. We're not going to go put, $1,000 on a one wheel on it, but, we need an extra $100 this week for groceries. Somebody's birthday, let's buy them a present. And then like you slowly build up and suddenly there's $3,000 on your credit card.
Right.
It's very easy to do.
I think most of the world is like that. Or country. I'll say country.
So we got rid of our credit card. When we sold off our old house, we paid off our car. And so now the only debt we have is our house. For Design the Everything, I'm a little bit more willing to take on debt. I use PayPal financing fairly heavily. They have a 6-month no interest, like PayPal credit thing.
Yep.
And that is where I have funded just about everything for the Carabiner Kickstarter. I'm going to sneeze.
Oh,
sorry.
I mean, all right. You want to talk about this a little bit? It's still personal debt, though. So how do you justify that? I mean, I have an answer for you, but you should give your answer.
I will only take debt on things that make money. Like clear, obvious, and within that 6-month period.
Right. I want to say, to give my experience, like frogpod is almost my first experience of bringing something to the market and selling it. Almost, certainly at this level. When I started my website back in September, and I haven't looked in a while, but it slowed down a lot. Where I was making all of these products, right? Like frogpod is number 39 of my 100 design goal, and a lot of them are on my website, and a lot of them have sold, and a lot of them have sold fairly well. But we're still, since September, we're coming up on a year. I'm like $6,000 maybe, which is awesome. Like that's super successful for starting this thing from scratch. And my only audience is a couple thousand people on Instagram, right? So I'm still gun shy. Like I want to buy a fiber laser. Don't really want to. I want to buy it because I want to prototype with it, and maybe I'll do some production. But I don't want to do production for somebody else, right? Like that's my thing. And I think you would do that, but you would also use it for prototyping. Does that make sense? Is that
Yes.
fair? But would you go on like Etsy and make things or source jobs to do on your machines?
So this is an interesting conversation. This is one I was just having like today with the people on Discord.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was actually looking at buying a rather large CO2 laser, and I'm still
Mm-hmm.
considering it. I'm not sold either way. Um,
I think that's easier to make money with than the fiber laser in general.
Maybe. Um, I I have no problem using my machines for other people, as long as it doesn't detract from my main design the everything thing. And most
Right.
of the time, it doesn't. At least right now, like design the everything is not so all consuming that I can't, find a day to focus on machining things for other people.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm just a little gun shy when it comes to. I know we were talking about debt, but even taking my own money, it's to this point, it's harder for me to be like, all right, I'm going to spend $5,000 of our money on this thing, and I know it's a little easier. Sorry, I think there's a creature in here. Uh, it's a little easier when it's debt because you don't have to think about it fully when you're doing it that way, right? And that's why so many people are in trouble. But I'm not talking about you in this situation, just in general. Um, you listen to like Jimmy DeRessa, and I mean, the guy he makes money with everything, but
Yeah.
he just doesn't talk about his failures as much, I'm sure. But he'll throw a $50,000 machine on a credit card and just chance it, and he's
Yep.
come out on top more than not. So it's good, but I can't function. I can't function that way at all. Not just within my own marriage, but even if it was just me, so to speak. Like I don't think I'd be comfortable with that kind of a leap. I don't know,
Yeah.
50
Hold on
grand.
1 second. I'm going to pause our recording. Oh, I hit unpause before I. Oh well, I'm going to say this, but I was trying not to sniffle on camera. I'll edit that out. um. So okay, we were talking about debt. Um. I. This is kind of where I have formed my opinion on it. I tried for a really long time to grow Design the Everything without investing money in it and without taking on any debt. And for 4 years of trying, I went nowhere. I was just spending time and not really making any progress. And then I took, $3,000 worth of debt on that Pocket NC, which I knew I could pay back by making branding irons. And, that Pocket NC made me $20,000. And then I sold that off, and I got the older Tormach, and that paid itself off. And then it's like, okay, well, like I need better equipment if I'm going to keep growing, and so that's when I took the debt on the new Tormach, which is about $600 a month payments. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like a new car,
Yeah.
and let's see, that has not yet paid itself off, but it might after the carabiners.
Okay. That's pretty cool. I think so this goes right into the debt aversion. Is I started my website and I needed products quickly. So I reached into my bag of tools and I was like, 3D printing is the quickest way to have a finished product to sell. Woodworking might be second. For you, I know your order's different. Machining is like ninth for me, even though I have all the machines. I just don't know how to use them. That's the problem.
You
But
don't have
like,
any CNC stuff either, right?
no. I got 2 Bridgeport mills and a screw machine and a lathe and fun stuff, manual stuff. But I was like, I need product quick and I need it affordable. So I started doing 3D printing. I didn't start. I leaned into 3D printing for those reasons. Um, because the startup cost is essentially free. It's pocket change. It's a $20 spool of plastic. It's nothing, and the products pay for themselves so fast. Like two sales, and I've recouped my actual hard costs, not my time or design time, but like I'm already positive financially. Um, so that's the appeal there, right? Then I leaned into, and I'm still leaning into this, but I have to grab something, and it's not there. Here. And then I started using Send Cut Send, which just everybody should know that by now, but they do laser
Use
cutting,
coupon code design everything 15 for 15% off.
and I did. Uh, well, not for this, but for the new ones that are coming in red, they're anodized or no powder coated. But anyway, so I was like, I need products that I don't have to make, but I can design and get in. And I make this T-track loop so that the tabs go in. I have another one here. I wish I could show you. Doesn't matter. You can see it. You bend the tabs yourself, which means this piece of metal ships in a regular mail envelope with an 88-cent stamp on it, and I can sell these for I think they're $7 shipped. So $7 free shipping for a small online business. I don't know if anybody has anything that cheap. Now I remember you telling me really early on, and I'm going to misquote you, so it's my words now, but don't get caught up with too many inexpensive items because it's tedious. Again, these are my words, but it's tedious and it's time consuming, and I learned that a little bit, but I'm still not overwhelmed yet, so I'm still going with it. But I was like, I want really cheap stuff, so I get people in the door and they're like, oh, I'll swipe my card for $7 and get something from this guy. That's cool. So that's kind of where those ideas came from. And so 3D printing, send cut send, and that's really it. And honestly, I can go really deep with those two things, but I don't want to get stuck there. I'd like to get into, I would say, CNC, wood CNCs. I would like to get a giant 5x10 machine if I could at some point. I think the Phantoms are like 30 to 40 grand, and you kind of get what you need, if I'm not mistaken. And that's a big chunk. And I don't know how we would pay for that yet, to go back to the debt subject. I would consider it at that point, but I need more practice with commerce. I'm not confident that I can sell stuff. Like, I almost think frogpod was a fluke, even though I definitely worked for it. But like, you said you bought the Pocket NC knowing, like, you knew you could make money with branding irons. I don't know that. I don't have that feeling. I'm not talking about branding irons, right? I'm talking about anything. Like, I could put something on Etsy. I don't know how to make it successful though on those platforms or in that realm. I'd love to hear your explanation for that if you have one.
I mean, I'm not really always sure that I know how. Like, for a while, I had my trays selling really well, and those things were just printing money. But then they stopped, and for whatever reason, I can't get the tray selling again. Um, and I have like the orange slice, which I think you have one of. Those didn't sell well for a long time, and now they've just taken off again.
Yeah. So that brings up another point. That's why I want to do 100 designs in 2 years. Because I have no idea what's going to sell well. I had no idea that Frogpod was going to do this until I listed it on my website. And I think that day or the next day, you told me it would be a good Kickstarter product. And I said, why? and you're like, well, it's design, it's tech, and those are like perfect. And I was like, all right, why do I need Kickstarter? And as soon as you told me, because you get the Kickstarter audience, I was like, oh, I'm an idiot. Okay, I get this now. It's not like a platform where I bring everybody to it. It's a platform where I bring a crew of people to it, and that helps it explode and bring in Kickstarter people. So that was really eye-opening, and I want to do one again tomorrow. I'm not ready, but I have a couple things.
Okay, so excuse me. So going back a little bit here, you said that you had a list of things that you would do better this time, or this next time. What would you do better?
All right. So the Kickstarter campaign itself, the advertising options, and backer kit. So before, during, after, kind of. I would do all of them before.
Okay.
At least make the connection, fill out the stuff, and make sure they are all on the same page, not talking to each other. They don't talk to each other, but I mean, each step is kind of laid out and organized. Hold on. I think I muted myself. And then I'll tell you what I would change. February 2nd, I redesigned the puck pod and printed it on my printer and held it, and I said, oh, this sucks. Let's redesign it. It was just a puck. It was a hockey puck. And I printed it, which means it was no longer a hockey puck. So I redesigned it completely. And I think even that day it was like 2-3 days. I basically got into like magnets on legs. And then on day 8, I think day 8 is when I listed it on my website. Like 8 days, and the thing was what you see today. And I think day 8 or 9 is when you told me to do a Kickstarter, or suggested it at least. You were very kind about it. So it was very quick. I listed on my website. No one bought it in the first 24 hours. I looked into Kickstarter. Kickstarter said you can't sell these things. It can't be an existing product. So I took it off my website, and it was purple. And no one has seen a purple one since. And it wasn't even green yet. I'm not even sure. I didn't even call it Frogpod. The listing is long gone, and I wish I could see the original listing. I think it was Magpod. I was still working through that, and I didn't even realize it needed to be green. So that means, I'm telling you this because that's when, okay, let's do a Kickstarter, and I have to learn what that even really means from my perspective, which took me way longer than I thought. And the thing that took me the longest is I had a photographer that didn't do anything for almost a month, and I was being very patient because he was like a friend in the community kind of a thing. He's a tangential person to the maker community. I'll just put it that way.
Pause.
So he just dragged his feet, and he just wasn't equipped. I don't want to say he wasn't equipped. Super freaking talented. I was upset when I had to stop that relationship, and I was like, I wanted you to do the thing. Like, you have good ideas. So that really slowed things down. And then I needed to find somebody else. And I asked Graz. That's when I asked Graz. Graz Makes, who who was so awesome and dropped what he was doing. And I drove up to Salem that weekend to shoot all of the footage we needed for the entire campaign in one day. And we created something very good, but I wish I had like 2 or 3 months to get that done, come up with an actual concept, a better concept. I don't want to say it the wrong way, a better concept, and execute it and give him enough time to like flex his creativity and do what he would have liked. Um, Again, all of like nothing was bad. It just definitely could have been better with more time. But like I shared this thing on Instagram before I even knew what it was going to be, so the timer was already running. Uh, so I would have basically done everything for the Kickstarter before I even shared the thing, and just had it sitting there waiting. I know you're a little bit in that same boat, but you haven't promised anything yet. You haven't promised a timeline yet, right? We just know it's coming, you know,
Yes.
which is perfect. So I would have done almost the entire Kickstarter before talking about it, and then I would have started talking about it with like a 2 or 3 month lead in before the Kickstarter started. Gotten out my samples if I can on the next one. Next one will be it'll be very similar in logistics, I guess. Um, I'll send out 50, 60 things, maybe more if I can. Um, it'll be, all my maker friends will promote it and help me with that. I hope again. Um, and I have that time to then reach out to the advertiser and just say, hey, this is what I'm doing. Let me see your suggestions. Let me create. I needed to create. I'm going to talk ads in a second, so let me back up. Figure out what they need, what they want, and not jump into it too late. So I didn't talk to the ad company until like almost 2 weeks in. Jocko told me you can talk to ad companies afterwards, and he's right. But he also knew what that really meant, and he was more prepared. So I talked to the ad company. They're like, "Great, give us a credit card, and we'll start ads." And that was it. And the way it works is they basically pay themselves from what they bring in. And you can set parameters on like how much of a return you want to see. They use an algorithm that they created where they'll increase or decrease ad buys to match your expectations. What I didn't know is 2 or 3 days in, I finally got to see what they were advertising with, what media they were using, and it was awful. It was like the solo white background picture of a frog pod with the screw poking out like a bird's eye view. I'm like, that doesn't say anything. Like, there's no information. There's no GoPro on it. There's no phone on it. There's nothing on it. Why am I paying hundreds of dollars to put this ad anywhere? This is ridiculous. And then another one was like the main video, portions of the main video, but they cropped it. They cropped it to be vertical and didn't do a good job of cropping it either. Like everything was cut off. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. So that ran for 1 week and I stopped it. I don't think I made a penny. I think I can tell you, I'll look it up, but I didn't even 2x my money, which is a failure because I still have to make the things, right? Uh, the projections or they can't track every single thing, so they try to track things, but basically either on the low end they brought in $4,700. On the high end they brought in $6,800. I
Okay.
spent $3,600. So on the low end, 47 to 3,600. On the high end, 68 to 3,600. It was awful. It was terrible. The guy ended up giving me a discounted rate, which wasn't a lot, but it was a couple $100. I didn't even ask. He just gave me a discount because after that week, I was like, turn this off. This is awful. Your communication sucks. Like, it was like 5 days before I even knew that they were located in Europe. and that our time zones were so different that I wasn't getting responses, but I was also not getting responses for like over a day.
Yeah.
That's not cool. They said Friday is considered their holiday, and I'm like, maybe, but I'm American, and I don't think about any other country but my own. So you should know that I expect you to answer me on a Friday. Like, what the hell? So it was bad, and I was worried because I'm like, the only way to turn this off is to tell you, and you're not responding. So I'm going to be another $1,000 in on this thing, and I can't control it. And even when I turned it off, they spent like $400 that day. Like, turned it off in my morning, and the freaking thing kept ticking up the entire day. I'm like, really? You can't turn this off? Like, that was frustrating. So I would have ads ready to go specifically for, like, I'd have like several set up for them and only give that to them. They're not
Okay.
allowed to make their own. They're not allowed to do anything else. You're going to use this or you're going to use nothing. And and if their terms and if they don't want to do that, that's fine. I'm just not going to do it. It's not worth it. Um, but they do bring in money. So if you can pay for ads and it will bring in money. Just know your margins and I don't know. As long as you don't lose money, it's okay. Like, even if you're breaking even on those numbers, because I do feel that during that week they were wafting in other people that they weren't getting credit for. I just know if I had my own ads running, they would have been so much better. And I just didn't think about that even a little bit. I thought they were going to create those catchy ads that you always see on Instagram or always see
Mhm.
wherever. I gave them all of my content, and I swear an algorithm put these things together because no human would put their name on this stuff.
So tell me about like a little bit of the logistics of working with them. Like when do they get paid? Like what do they get paid based off of? Like how does all that work?
So this was well, I just bashed them, so I won't give you their name. Honestly, I'd use them again. I would just be prepared, right? Um, so they, how do I answer that? It's a little complicated, but they do communicate it well live. They track the Kickstarter dashboard, and then they also track like the people that, I don't know how this stuff works, but they can track like people going to the site and what they're spending. And that number is always bigger, and the Kickstarter number is always smaller because Kickstarter kind of doesn't let them track stuff. I
Okay.
know, I know, I'm not. I know it doesn't really make sense to me because I just don't know how the internet works. Um, so they take both of those numbers and they average them together, and I paid 15% of that number. Total sales, gross, 15% of the gross. Um, Now, what that costs me could be anything. It cost me $3,600, and that number was 5,700. So I paid 15% of 5,700. I don't know, I paid them $1,000, but but I also paid for the ads, right? So my credit card, my debit card was on file with them, and Facebook would charge me every time it hit $900. It would swipe $900 out of my account. I think it did that twice in that 1 week. um, and then they paid for Google ads because they can't use my credit card. Like, it just doesn't work. So they front the cost of the Google ads, but they only spent $200. Which to me, I'm like, is Facebook really the right place to be doing all of the advertising, or do you just not want to shell out the money for my campaign? Like, does that make sense? So why wasn't the ad buy equal or more in Google and less in Facebook? And maybe it is true that Facebook's just a better place to advertise. That's fine. But there was no transparency there. Like, I just didn't see. We didn't talk about anything. I just trusted them to do their job, and they kind of sucked at it. Um,
So you did pay for all of the ads up front before the end of the campaign, and then you paid an extra all the Facebook ads. And then at the end of the campaign, you paid an extra 15%.
15% of the gross. and the Google ad spend, which was a couple $100. Yeah, that sounds about right. And then he took 10% off of their fee. Not off the 15%, but 10%
Yeah.
off of it. Which was nice. And but again, they're a tool, and I misused the tool. But they didn't teach me how to use the tool at all. So like that part, I'm not, all the blame's on me. It's my thing. But I wish I knew that stuff. Now I know it, but it probably cost me 20 grand, right? In lost sales, if that was better. I know ads running from, also, I would have done ads from day one. I would have, um, I would have done ads for day one, where all of that momentum comes rushing in and ads are out there and people are clicking on it and they're like, holy crap, this thing is jumping. Um, I think I'll try that next time, even though that's definitely riskier. But we'll see. I don't know what questions they'll ask me if they haven't seen the Kickstarter start yet, and if they don't see that it's already funded and things like that, right? Because if it's not funded, they're going to have a hard time getting paid, right? That's going to be bad because you didn't get any money and you owe them money.
So really, you're paying them for basically their customer list, their like the data that they've collected.
The data they've collected and the algorithm that they've generated, because it is an algorithm. The algorithm is getting feedback. It's not machine learning, but it's getting feedback and making adjustments, and then putting more money in different places or better places. But it was rough. It was rough. And what sucks is they are giving you the Excel spreadsheet that they have that live updates. It's giving you like a 3x and 3.5x return, but it doesn't factor in the ad buy, and it doesn't factor in their fee, their 15% fee. So I'm like, well, it's not 3.5x, it's 2.5 or 2, or the numbers obviously matter here, but so that, I don't know. Their lack of communication is what pissed me off. But again, I have now learned how to use the tool, and I would use it again, and I would not be upset. It would work. And it would work better. And I would turn it off if it wasn't working, and I'd be okay with it because I know that I did what I needed to do to make it successful if it was going to be successful. That makes sense.
It is interesting. So, and how much did you spend on the Facebook ads through them?
It was over 1,800. I don't know if I have that. I might have that. Hold on a second.
In 1 week?
Yeah. Now I got to set some of those limits, so I could say $200 a day, $400 a day, $800 a day. After the first 2 days, I was like, you know what? Let me give these people the benefit of the doubt, and I made it unlimited, which doesn't mean they're going to spend 10 grand. It means the algorithm has the freedom to push. So here, I'm pulling up my invoice right now. It's kind of weird, but during the campaign, no, it was like 1,400. So during the campaign, I got swiped for 900, basically 900, 900, 600, and $2.48.
So 900, 900, 600.
What?
900, 900, 600. So that's like $2,400.
Oh yeah, 24. Sorry, not 14. I shouldn't be risking things if I can't do basic arithmetic. And then I owed them 1,020. Actually, I still owe them. What's cool? All right. What's cool about the ads is I don't owe them money other than the Facebook stuff. I don't owe them anything until like up to 2 weeks after or 3 weeks after the Kickstarter, because they know I don't get my money for 2 weeks, which it was 2 weeks in a day. Today is 2 weeks in a day, which is great, right? Like, that's super helpful. Like, they structured it in such a way that makes a lot of sense, because they know a lot of Kickstarter campaigns maybe don't have money or already spent their ad budget before the Kickstarter. I don't know.
But you still had to have the $2,400 in your bank account, right?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
part sucks.
Yeah.
Well, it really sucks because we're so debt averse. Like that money's real. It's not credit. I can't just be like, oh, there's, I got room in my limit. No, that money had to be there, and every time it got declined because of fraud. It wanted every single time, and it always happened at like 2 a.m. when I'm sleeping. So there was always a time gap, and I haven't thought about this, but I might consider like getting the PayPal credit card for this reason because I don't want there to be an interruption. I don't think my bank. I didn't call my bank, but I don't think my bank would have let those go through no matter what I told them. Unless I, obviously after the fact, you just tell them it's not fraud and that's fine. So, I don't know, man. That was a sore spot. That was a stressful thing dealing with them. But the stress was basically because I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what I was doing. And now I do.
Sorry, I'm just thinking about ads and how much money I'll have to set aside. Because that 2,400 was in 1 week, 2 weeks.
Yeah. I would consider educating myself on where to advertise in Facebook alone. And I would kind of want to try it myself. I would want to do the ad buys myself.
I have never had great luck with like Facebook advertising or anything.
I was shocked because the frogpod is like the ultimate 2-second ad. Mm-hmm. Like you see a GoPro slap down on a thing and stick there. That's it. That's your scroll. You could be scrolling and not stop and get that image, and they didn't deliver it.
Yeah.
Like they don't know. They didn't even look at the freaking campaign. I swear they don't even know what the product is. That's how I feel. But again, that's something I could have controlled if I knew better. Mm-hmm. I just thought other people would care and they didn't. That's the problem. I'm an idiot.
I've been trying to figure out how to advertise my carabiners. Because your frog pods have a very good viral, like action-packed thing of throwing the frog pod and yelling frog pod.
Yeah.
And I don't know what to do for the carabiners.
So I don't either. And I've thought about everyday carry stuff, like that's the category, right? And it's hard for me to think about it because like it's just another knife, it's just another carabiner, it's just another thing that we all already own and already exists. Right? Is that fair? Yep. I know it's cool and it's beautiful and like there's good things, right? But it's hard to differentiate in that market. Whereas like frogpod is I almost said novel. That sounds too stupid though. It's unique and different enough that different enough, but also really quick to explain that people see it and go, oh, like that doesn't exist, or like I can't buy a magnetic mount. No, they're not. Nobody sells them. But sorry, I kind of cut you off there with how to advertise your carabiner.
Yeah. Well, kind of going to what you were saying. One of the things, so I am working on and this is a very AJ thing. I am working on a written out process for like the design the everything product development cycle. Mm-hmm. How, maybe not how specifically how to do all the things, but like the order they need to be done in. And one of the things that I have now put is like the second item on my list is to have I think I call it a memeable idea. like to have a shareable catch to go along with your product.
Right.
And like that's something I want all of my future products to have. I don't have one for the carabiner.
Right. So this probably doesn't work in this situation, but I would, if I'm going into the everyday carry category and I'm doing a carabiner thing, I feel like my ad would be, I would make 4 or 5 designs of different carabiners that are all available, right? And the ad is, which one do you want, or which one do you like, or which one's your favorite? Which already kind of gets their feet through the door, and now they're thinking about, well, I guess I like that one. You know,
That makes
um,
sense.
even if it's 2, you can play, you can fight them together, right? Like that's a marketing tactic. Um, that's about as good as I got right now, though.
My
I'm not saying start over and start designing 4 different carabiners, but that might work though. Even if, yeah, I don't know.
So I have different colors, so I could do the same thing with colors. Another
Okay,
thought I had was like,
that's
and
no, that's super true. I want to hear your other idea, but even different colors is the same. That works though, right?
yeah.
Okay, so what's your other idea? Sorry.
So my other idea was I've gotten some more fancier video editing software, and I've gotten better at it. And I'm at the point now where I'm pretty sure that I could take a carabiner in front of a green screen and open and close it and put it basically anywhere I can find stock video for. So I could
Really?
just have like a cool montage of it, like opening the carabiner in Paris in front of the Eiffel Tower, and then like on an Aztec pyramid, and then like, I don't know, middle nowhere of Africa. And
Yeah. I always like those videos. I'm sorry, I'm picturing it. I always like those videos where like the thing is completely stationary throughout the entire video, and like everything else changes. I wanted to do that with the frog pod, where I just don't have the ability. Where like I slap it on a pole, and it changes accessories like 4 times. So like slap it on
Yeah.
with GoPro, then there's a phone, then there's a DSLR, then there's a light, then there's a thing. Um, I said thing, and you get that quick snap, 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 and then the last thing, I grab it and take it off and go, right. So like that was one video concept, or a clip concept, right, or even an ad concept. Jeez, I wish I made that. Um, so I don't know.
Did you see the video I posted on the Better Keychains Instagram with the trays rapidly changing color and all kinds of wildness happening?
No.
So that was a test for the carabiners,
Okay.
and like just playing with ideas that I could do for ads, and it's definitely eye catching.
Right.
I'll
Well,
edit some of those in here.
I like your Better Keychains branding. I think it's great. I love the primary. Are they primary colors? Not
They're
primary
bright
colors.
colors. They're not primary colors.
No, right. Sorry. I know what primary colors are totally. Uh, but like just those solid bright colors. It looks like a it look can I say this? It looks like a real brand. I
that
understand.
that
But
was
like,
kind of the point of Better Keychains, is to look like
right.
a real brand.
Yeah. And it is. I didn't see the tray thing. Is this a video here? Was it a story, or was it
It's
on
a
the
it's a post.
Oh jeez. It's not playing. I'll find it. Anyways, that's not what we're here for. Oh, there it is. Oh, awesome. Oh, I didn't see this. That's great. And he's jiggling a little bit, which gives him like animation. Was that intentional?
Nope.
Oh. No, but it's a character. I like the character thing, man. somebody put eyes on the frog pod, and I was like, that's a great post.
Mm.
Somebody, Keith Drennan. Um,
I haven't put googly eyes on a carabiner yet. I need to try that.
honestly, man, put it sideways, and then the carabiner is the mouth, and you could
Yeah,
have it things. You could say funny things. I don't know what
I
the,
totally could animate it.
yeah, you could, and it could eat keys. Oh, I
It's
got some
actually
great
not
images.
terrible.
It's like you turn into the Cookie Monster, but
I'm not opposed.
it's dude, if it's on brand, right? Like
Yeah.
your brand is like whimsical
Yeah, and
and
bright.
fun and cute, like a little bit, but like cute with like really good design, right? Like not cartoonish.
More Muppet.
I don't know.
More Muppet, less cartoon.
Right. Yeah. But that's cool though. Yeah, the carabiner opens up because when you do it, it's open like this, right? It's extended and then you spring load it
Yes.
by closing it, right? So
Yep.
dude, that's a mouth all day. You know how cheap how cheap voiceover stuff is on Fiverr?
Uh-huh.
Like I don't know how creative and how much time you want to spend on that, but that might be the path to look down.
I'm You have my interest peaked now. Like I want to try this.
I mean, I'm thinking of something that I'm incapable of producing. I just don't know. I think you're capable, but that's more animation, right? But
Yeah.
it's really simple animation. You could do stop motion and you just take photos
Yeah.
of
And then just like alternate between like mouth open, mouth closed.
and half opened and half closed, and
Yeah.
you could do a lot with that. That would be fun. You should do it. I want to see it.
I think I have to now.
Oh, because I'm on my front butt account. It wouldn't be. I don't see it being tacky. Like I would worry about something like that, right? Because you would step into the cartoony category, but you could do TikToks with your carabiner.
That's true.
You could lip sync with your carabiner. You could do all the funny TikTok,
The songs and
all of it, dude, all of it.
one of my goals was to pre-plan all of these posts, a whole bunch of social media posts for it.
Oh
I
yeah, that's another
It's
thing.
gonna take a lot of time for me to put together, but I'm on board. And I think the keys to not don't try to make it look too professional. Like the jank is part of the charm.
Yes. No, if this thing wasn't jittering, I'm sorry if that's offensive at this point, but if this wasn't jittering a little bit, it would have way less character. Because it's jittering, it is a Muppet. It's a puppet. It's the eyes are moving a little bit. You need that. It would look bad without it. It would look bad if it was perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Like I didn't know there were 4 videos. This is great.
Oh yeah, there's like 4 videos.
Just like yeah, man. Like think about all the funny like TikTok stuff. Just of the people talking about things and making jokes and um, man, not trying to explain TikTok to people now. That was terrible. That'd be really cool if you can pull that off. That'd be cool. But to your point, that's the other thing. I would have it's a 30-day campaign. I would have 30 or 60 posts lined up, ready to go because I didn't create any of my posts. Adam did it, and they're really simple. And I know if I took the time to learn that, I could do it. Really simple in the way, meaning that like he just kind of stuck stuff together, and there's no reason I can't figure that out, right? But I paid him to do all that stuff, and he was great. That's Adam C, by the way. And he was on it. Like anytime I asked for anything, he was just on it. It was great. I mean, I'll use him again, obviously, but I can make posts. Like I should be able to make that stuff and save him some time and save me some money, and utilize him differently. But he's the one that came up with the logo and everything. And I mean, I swear he's responsible for half the money that's on there just because of how polished it got. Um, I was going for cartoon. I wanted a frog. I wanted a legit frog holding a, I don't know.
A GoPro.
And yeah. And he's like, how about this? And I was like, oh, that's super boring and like modern and I hate it. But but the reality is that's what the category looks like. That's what camera accessories look like. And I'm fortunate enough that my logo is my product. Like the sideways Y. Like that's huge. And I wasn't going to use that. Like I didn't think of that. It's a great sticker. It's a great profile picture. It's a great, like, it's so good. It's a symbol, right? Um, so, and he actually made it in a bunch of like colors. Not, I mean, green, but green and white and green, black and white, black and green, all that stuff. And I finally settled on the black and green, and I invert those too. But I learned a lot about branding, just scratching the surface. But I learned a lot. But yeah, getting those posts lined up so that you're not scrambling during the month. Like I didn't post enough. I should have posted way more. I should have had stuff that other people could have posted for me. I would ask that next time. You know, they don't have to do it, but I would ask. I was like, hey, if you don't mind, this would be a great thing to post for me. If you want to delete it later, that's fine. If, whatever, right? I would have tried some of that. I would have done, I might have, I was really gentle. I didn't want to like force anybody to do anything. I asked a couple friends to like, hey, if you can share this again, that'd be great. But I didn't do that across the board. I just wasn't organized enough to do that right. And that's because I was rushing into everything. Everything was on fire. Everything was going all at once. I just prepare so much better for the next time. Yeah. But there was a third thing. So ads, backer kit.
Yes.
Now, I'm going through backer kit right now, so the wounds are still bleeding. So I'll start by saying I think backer kit is excellent. I just haven't finished it yet. Excuse me. Oh my goodness. I got on there a week ago. Again, should have done this before the campaign. Received advice that I can wait, and you totally can if you know what you're doing. But you're basically setting up almost the whole campaign over again in someone else's system. And you are, except for the story, they don't care about the story in Backer Kit. It's more of a store where when you send out the survey, and you've purchased things.
Yes, using Backer Kit.
Yeah, you've used it as a consumer, right?
Yes.
But when I send you a survey for your frogpod, it will basically have what you already purchased, but then it'll give you a whole screen of all the things you can purchase again or more or different or whatever. And it's a whole nother wave of sales opportunities, which is huge. Now, I don't really know what my costs are at the moment, but I think I owe them $600 if I decide to hit send survey. Mm-hmm. Like there's a small upfront fee, and I think it's based on the campaign total. So $600 is 2%. I don't know. That's about right. Maybe it's factored a different way. And then they take I think it's 5% plus, it's the same as Kickstarter, 5% plus credit card fees. But you have this really cool opportunity to get more sales from the people that already walk through your door. And it's also, you have the option to set up a pre-order page for new people to pre-order and extend the Kickstarter essentially. And I asked the guy, I was like, all right, when do I stop using you? And he said, you kind of probably stop using us when you're caught up and you have inventory. And then you just go to your own website and do your own thing. So they're really an intermediary. And I think a really important one because, from what I understand, surveys through Kickstarter kind of suck, and there is no secondary sales opportunity at all. And I think they're even limited. So if you screw up, like you can't send another one. But I might be wrong about some of that data.
I would say I don't think the Kickstarter surveys suck. There's some minor inconveniences, like the CSV they give you, like the data file they give you is broken up weirdly. And like if you have, so let's say you have 4 different tiers, they will give you a CSV where like they'll have all of, so let's assume your surveys are all exactly the same with the same questions for the 4 different tiers. The CSV will be broken up, so there'll be one column with all of the tier 1 responses, and then it'll have the exact same columns again with all of the tier 2, and it just like multiplies the number of columns and makes it much harder to put together. But
yeah, so I'm hoping. I've had a lot of trouble with it so far. It's not intuitive. I think like some of the labels they put on like their menu bar are very confusing to me.
Okay.
Went into, I don't know if I have an example in particular, but I went into like the backer report where I see everybody's name at least, and like I can click on them, and next to it was saying like survey not sent, and then on other ones it was saying like response not received yet. And I'm like, I didn't send any surveys. I'm like, why does it say that? So I asked, and she's like, this is good feedback. I never thought about that being confusing. So either she's being nice or she's being real. Either way, I'll take it. But I'm like, how is that not confusing? It's pending. Like, pending means something started. So like stuff like that. And then also, oh my gosh, also I clicked on just a random person and saw what they ordered. There's a link, which is really nice that there's a link to their Kickstarter order, and it takes you to Kickstarter, and you can see exactly what they have there. And that integration is really nice. But it told me how much he spent, and it told me what he was getting. And then it showed me like the order, like what to put in the bag. And it was like 3 times the amount of stuff. Like, oh, this is really bad. And it had to do with the way I set it up, where basically it said, these are your rewards. Here's the item you just created, and it's called Frogpod Plus Kit, right? So you get 4 things. You get the Frogpod and the 3 accessories. And I was putting that, I was like, okay, this reward has 1 of those, this reward has 2 of those, this reward has 3 of those. And then I set up Frogpod, which is just the Frogpod. And I was like, okay, this one has 1 of those, this one has 2 of those, and this one has 3 of those. So they were all doubling on top of each other. And he was getting Frogpod kits and Frogpods. And there's no way to know that that's a conflict until it's a conflict. There's no way to predict that. Well, now that I know it, it's self-explanatory, but so that was a little confusing. But the way that's laid out, I would have probably tweaked my Kickstarter a little differently. And that reminds me of something else I would have done differently with Kickstarter. But we can get there when you're ready. So I would have gone to backer kit early. I would have tried to set all of that up before Kickstarter went live. And that way it was just in place. And if I needed to make tweaks, I could make tweaks. And that's totally possible. That's a thing. You need to import all your photos for all of your items. I did that over on Kickstarter. I wish it would just pull it over, and it doesn't because they're different. So, Kickstarter is more focused on the rewards, and this is more focused on a store where you need all of your items separately, and you need all of your, nobody cares about rewards over there, except that people got them. But to go to the thing that I have done differently. I almost forgot it. Hold on. Oh, I didn't know this was a thing. So if you go to almost any Kickstarter right now, look at like maybe their early bird. Their early bird has a limit, right?
Yes.
But if you pay attention, the limit continuously increases forever. It's a gimmick, and they all do it, and I wish I knew that, because what I would have done, I did a really good early bird, like $10 off and you got extra stuff. 25% off and you got extra stuff, I should say. But it was limited, and that, it hit its limit pretty quick. What I should have done and what I'll do next time is totally gimmicky, but it really, really works. Is I would have said my early bird is actually my regular price, right? And every time it crept within like 5 or 6 slots left, I would have added 5 and just sat there all day and adding 5. And it's purely a marketing tactic, but it's super effective. In fact, my advertiser was sending me messages whenever it approached the limit.
Interesting.
Literally text me and tell me to go change it every single time. Which I didn't do, but that's what it would do. Don't worry about the story, doesn't make sense there. But so I ended up hiding a bunch of stuff, starting new rewards, which means 0 backers backed it, and it was messy. It was messy, and I wish I did it differently, but it is what it is.
So when would you stop doing that for the early birds? Because you don't want the early birds to be there like 3 weeks.
No, I think forever.
Really?
Yeah, no, I think you do it all the way to the end. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, no, I think you could even do like early bird and then just take the early bird tag off and just hide it. So what you can do, you can hide rewards. Did you know this?
Yes.
Okay, so you basically just go into the reward and set the start date for the last day of the campaign, and it disappears, and nobody can see it. And I didn't think about this at the time, but I did that for a bunch of tiers, and a couple people dropped out of those tiers, and so there were empty spots that I wish I had fulfilled. But yeah, the other thing I did wrong with my rewards is I didn't have the stupid category of I call it the stupid category.
The stupid cheap or stupid expensive?
Expensive. The stupid expensive category where the value's not there, but like you want to be the ultimate backer. So like Jocko's thing going on right now, obviously I did the stupid category because I wanted to support him and thank him for supporting me through this thing. But it's like $300 for one flashlight. Like there's other perks in there, but not $300 worth. But you do it because you are a legit like supporter of that person.
Yeah.
So I was too shy to do that, and I should have done it. And then when the ads were running, that's when I was like, oh, I need to do a 2x, a 3x, a 4x frogpod category. It's just straight up like there was a little bit of a discount, but I didn't even have those options, which means there's no opportunity for that person to be like, oh, maybe I will get the 4x. And I should have done a 5x and a 6x and a 7x, and I didn't. I should have done them all. I should have done a 100x category. Like maybe somebody wanted them for their corporate thing, like maybe they were handing them out at a corporate event. I don't think anybody would have bought it, but it should have been there. Why not? What's the harm?
Well, the harm is confusing backers. That's the risk.
Yeah, but you just keep scrolling, and eventually you're like, well, I'm not going to buy that much. So, like, the stupid category isn't 100 frog pods. The stupid category is twice the price for half the value, right? But you get some perks. Now, I did the generals category. I did frog pod generals, but the value was there. So, like, I don't think they even paid extra for stuff. They paid $80 for 2 frog pods and a bunch of accessories and stuff. That was actually that was an early bird. It was just a bigger early bird. Yeah, I screwed that up a little bit. I don't know what else.
So I think right now on my carabiner one, I have early bird stonewashed, early bird powder coated, and then just regular stonewashed, regular powder coated.
Okay.
Do you think I should move to have one that's like at least, 2 carabiners, 3 carabiners?
Yeah. Yes. Yes, because you have to. Are those all separate selections? Those different options?
Those are 4 different reward tiers, yes.
All the same price?
No. Early birds get like a $5 discount, and powder coated's like $6 more expensive.
Oh, I'm sorry. I missed those details. I'm sorry. Interesting.
But I could do like, 2 powder coated, 2 stone washed, and
I would. Absolutely. If you're I'm trying to think of the retail example. You buy the 2-pack, you buy the 3-pack, you buy the case, you buy, dude, carabiners. Do you have a price point yet? I don't think so, right? Don't say it now.
I do.
Okay,
It is $30 for the stone washed and $36 for the powder coated.
Okay, so, all right, so you could skip. You should do a 2, 3, maybe 2, 3, 5, 10, right? And obviously anybody can order 10 within, even if they click on the 1x reward, they can just add more. I assume, right?
Yes.
And they can add all the different options. They can get a powder coated one and a stone washed one, right?
Yes, they could. As an add-on item.
Yeah, as an add-on, the reward. Yeah, dude, you got to give them the option. I had no idea, and all of those, that 2, 3, 4x category for me, they all sold a few. Like I think 7 people got 4x. I couldn't believe it, and I guarantee they would not have if it wasn't an option. Like they wouldn't have clicked on 1 and bought 3 more. I don't think they would have. I gave a small discount, like 10% maybe, and they sold. And that's like I sold 7 of those 2 weeks in. If that was available on day 1, I know people would have picked it. I know they would have. Yeah, there's so many things I would have done differently. Yeah, ask them if they want to buy more. Absolutely. I mean, I'm going to buy more than 1. I know I will. And if I only have the single option, I know it sounds stupid, but it will be harder for me to buy 2 if I have to do it as an add-on.
Okay. So here's the next question. So you had your kits. I have key rings and lanyards right now as my add-ons. Should I do kits for that, or
you make all of that, right?
Yes.
Do you have any accessories that you're buying that you don't make?
No.
Could you?
Theoretically, yes, but I don't want to. I don't want to deal with shipping from China and stuff. I know it works pretty well for you, but
it's great. I could help you. It's amazing.
The genesis of this carabiner is in the fact that I ordered titanium carabiners from China for my parametric pry bar, and they never showed up.
Yeah. I remember that now. That's funny. I would encourage you to find the right accessory to add in, because it's free money. It really is. Like my accessory kit, even the kit, I don't know what I want to say yet. I would tell you everything privately. I have like a 4x markup on it, and it's a deal. You can't. I am beating Amazon, and I'm 4xing it, right? So it's a win-win for everybody. But I don't know how much of my profit is right there, but it's a good chunk. It might be 20-30% of my overall income Kickstarter. Now my situation is a little different. You're selling accessories, really, right? Like you're making accessories.
Yes.
I mean, mine's an accessory too, but my accessory has accessories. It's a little different. Is that confusing?
Yeah. Because
like accessory,
I
but
want to build the Better Keychains ecosystem. Like,
yeah.
I want to have basically one of everything, at least, that someone would want to put on a keychain. I want to have keys. I want to have carabiners. I want to have some various keyring organization kind of things.
Yeah.
Flashlights, pocket knife, pry bar, the whole shebang.
Are you going to make lanyards? Not the lanyard thing you're making, but like
a badge holder kind of thing that retracts it.
Yeah. Did you? Sorry. Like a strap, like a legit strap lanyard thing. Like
yeah, it goes around your neck.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're about to get one in a couple days here, Mr. Prototype of the Month Club member.
No, thank you. Not the metal part though. Oh, I'm such an idiot. You went to the freaking fabric store to buy these.
I have, these are for like the wrist straps, but like, yeah, I have the elastic right here. And actually, I'm going to send you elastic on the lanyard for the Prototype of the Month Club, but I hate it. And I have more elastic on the way from like a real manufacturer that's really nice.
Okay. Thanks for that. No, no, I'm kidding. It's Prototype of the Month Club. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you'll get that prototype too when it's ready.
So there's nothing in the keychain category that you are going to sell that you're not going to make.
That is the current plan.
Right. What's adjacent to that where you could buy something and add it? I don't mean to harp on this, but I think it's important.
My first thought of this is terrible. Is pants so you can clip your carabiners to it. Oh gosh. Did I mention I only got like 45 minutes of sleep last night because we have a sick child?
No. You go to bed now? Oh, it's early for you, right?
No, we're the same time zone. It's 10:20.
Oh, we are? Oh.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Let's see. I could see me buying out the flashlight. I do have a pry bar right now that somebody else makes that's smaller and more compact.
Flashlight for what?
Like just a keychain flashlight. Like I could see that being a product that I buy out.
Okay. Yeah, I would look into that. I would look into just to add it to your catalog, or make a keychain for a specific accessory or accessory type, like a flashlight. Like make something that goes with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I have? One. Sometimes I get inspiration from existing items that I want to pair with, like I just kind of said. And the thing I really want to make something for, and I haven't quite figured it out yet, is, like a bike. Follow me. A bike helmet has the clip.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you seen the cool newer ones where it's a magnetic clasp that goes together? Like you could just like click them together and it'll click and be locked in.
I haven't seen that, but that's cool.
And then to get it apart, you have to slide it apart.
Okay.
So it catches super easy, but then it's stuck, and then you have to slide it out to get it apart.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to make something that uses that. And you could totally make a metal version of this for quick release. It's not secure. I mean, it's a bike helmet, so it's stationary, right? Like it's not going to fall off for no reason. But if it was a keychain, there's definitely lateral motion. But anyways, it's an item that I really want to make a product for, and I haven't figured it out yet. But like that's the thing where I just buy it and I just have it, and when the inspiration finally hits me, I'll go grab it and I'll make the thing. Yeah. So that's kind of what I'm saying is like find the flashlight that you want to fix. Find I don't know what else it would be. Because if you can sell, I don't know if it's a $20 flashlight or a $100 flashlight, but if you can double your money on that, and bring them in because of the keychain. It's easy money in the sense that you didn't have to make that. Something to think about. I'm trying to think of other things.
A quick release is on my list of things because I think it would be useful.
Yeah.
It won't be magnetic because too many of my customers work in a machine shop and it collects chips.
Yeah. 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 For your frog pod, just embrace it. Just let it be fuzzy. It'll be fine. Just blow it off with air once in a while.
It blowing off the feet with air actually works really well.
Yeah.
Like it cleans it off, no problem.
Yeah. I should sell like frog pod cleaners, like the little Dyson like hand you just like dip your frog pod in.
I think we need frog socks. I'm still waiting for the PLA frog sock.
The problem is that the you know how many layers of plastic are between the outside and the magnet?
Probably 2.
Yeah. I don't know it off the top of my head. Less than 0.5 millimeter.
Mm-hmm.
So adding another 0.5 millimeter.
I see.
It would still work fine. It would still be strong enough because those magnets are stupid strong. I mean, you've been using it.
Also, wrapping them in tape or setting it on a paper towel works fine.
Yeah, but that's lame. That's a bad user experience. I'm with you on that. I do want to make socks that clip on, just like. I'd have to make them out of something rigid, though. I'm going to do it. I don't know why I'm procrastinating, honestly. I'm just going to do it and see if it sucks, right? Like, that's the whole idea is with even my 100 design things. I can't predict the market. I don't know. Maybe people want frog pod socks. And why am I talking myself out of it before even trying it? Right? Like, I'm trying to get out of that so bad. Again, with the 100 design thing, it's like, shut up and make it. Even if it's too expensive, whether it's too expensive to make, which makes it too expensive to sell, and no one will buy it, again, who's to say? I don't know that. So just create it, and maybe getting through the creation process, you figure out how to solve that problem. But don't solve it before you start. And
I have to say, like, I am adopting your theory here. Like, I just want to make a whole bunch of cool things. Some of them will work and some of them won't. And like one of the reasons behind the Patreon of the Month Club, it's like, okay, I get, $30 per person to go just try wild stuff. Like whatever I want to make, like I've already sold, I think right now I'm at like 12 Patreons. Like I've already sold 12 of them. What do I want to make?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I think another way to say it is stop trying to make things where you're the target customer.
Mm-hmm.
And what that really means is just because you don't like it doesn't mean it's not a good product and doesn't mean it's not good and good design. Like, all right, so like I'm going to buy your carabiners because personally, I just want to support you, right? I don't like carrying anything. My everyday carry most days is just my phone. I don't even carry a wallet. And if you don't take Apple Pay, I'm probably not going to your store. That's it. Like,
yeah,
I go to Target because they take Apple Pay, and I don't go to Walmart because I forgot my wallet at home. Like, legit. And they're across the street from each other, so it works out most of the time. But, I don't like carrying anything. So like but that doesn't mean I shouldn't make a carabiner, right? Like if I have a good idea for a carabiner, I should make a carabiner. I'm not going to. It's not my thing, but I know I'm contradicting myself. But just because this product seems too expensive to me doesn't mean others don't have put more value into it.
Yep.
So just make it and post it and list it and move on. Like you don't have to create a business out of every product, right?
Yep.
I didn't. The first one I tried is frogpod. All the other ones just kind of live on my website, and that's great. Um, just got sideswiped by a fly. Yeah, I just I'm not smart enough to predict the market. I'm not smart enough to know what viral means. I'm not smart enough to know what's going to be good or bad or anything. But what I am good at is coming up with ideas, solving problems no one asked me to solve, and if I can just keep focusing on that, and putting the product of that out into the world, I think I'm going to figure it out. That's all I can do.
So I have a proposal for you.
Yeah. Do I have to
I
write this
found a
down?
laser that I really want to buy, and I need excuses to buy it. So
Uh-huh.
you should come up with some products that are laser cut, and I'll make them for you.
Yes. I almost bought a fiber laser just to save myself $300 for washers. I was like,
So
$100. Well, why don't I just spend $5,000?
so this one is a 150 watt CO2 laser with
Wow.
I think it's a 60-inch by 40-inch bed.
60/40, 5 by 3.5.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's like, well, you could put like basically a half sheet of Baltic birch in there.
Yeah. What yeah. So it's been hard for me to think of CNC and laser projects. I do have a small laser, but it's not set up right now because I don't use them. You know what my hang up is? 3D design, no problem. Got that. I'm pretty good. Like, I'm not great. I can't do it professionally, but I'm pretty good. And 2D design is impossible. I draw, like, I will draw stuff in Fusion 360 2D before I go into Inkscape. It is the most confusing program I've ever looked
Why
at
don't you just do it all from Fusion?
because there's limitations, especially with fonts and stuff.
Yeah, okay.
And like, with 2D design, or like, think about making like a snowflake ornament in Fusion. That would suck. But I feel like you could draw that easier in Inkscape if I knew how to use Inkscape and duplicate that, I don't know, and then add text to it and stuff like that. I've seen it done. It just looks easier in that program, but I just don't know how to manipulate it because it's not math. It's not coordinates. Um, I don't know.
So I do a stupid amount of like vector style design in Fusion.
Yeah.
I can't show any of this stuff because it's all NDA'd, like the actual specific stuff, and I can talk about it.
Yeah.
I work for a company that makes molds, and I'm trying to think of what's covered here. Let's see. Yeah, I can say this. They make mold for candies and gummies,
Okay.
and like, they're like a super high end mold maker. So Joe's Chocolate Shop wants a new chocolate bar, and so they come to this company to get silicon molds. Well, Joe's Chocolate Shop wants their logo on it or whatever,
Right.
and this stuff all has to be designed in Fusion to be like the right sizes and everything, because like it has to be machined with the CNC machine.
Right.
You can do a lot in Fusion. But to be fair, most of the time I take a picture that's generated somewhere else, I put it in Fusion and I trace over it and
Uh-huh.
then make the dimensions right.
Right.
So it's not really doing graphic design in Fusion.
Yeah.
But
I wish I had that skill set because laser and CNC, I want to be careful. Laser is the easiest CNC machine in the world,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Uh, Even easier than a vinyl cutter, because a vinyl cutter you got to pick all that crap out, and that's tedious.
Yep.
But like laser is super easy. There are difficult things about it, but it's super easy. CNC wood CNC has got to be second. there's a bigger learning curve, but that's way easier than even 3D printing. And for some reason, I can't get going in either of those. I own small hobby machines in both those categories.
Mm-hmm.
Never use them. And I
What
really,
laser and CNC do you have?
I have a K40 that everybody has. And I have the MP-CNC, the mostly printed.
Okay. You have the worst laser and the worst CNC
Yeah.
router ever, though.
Yeah,
Both
fair
of
enough.
those I have had and then given away because I hated them.
I mean, I've used the laser a little bit, and it is super easy. What's not easy about this one is it's 100% manual every time. Like, I have to, focus. I have to like build the bed up to be the right way from the laser. I have to like. It's such a pain in the ass. So I just avoid it. But I also didn't really have room for it before, so now that I have a bigger space, I'll set it up. I would probably buy a laser. Probably not one as big as you're talking. I mean, that sounds like 15 grand. Can I ask?
It's like 9,000. I don't know what delivery is like on it.
Yeah, that's true.
But
Interesting. So for me, I have a lot of things to make between where I am and a $9,000 machine. Like I have a lot of opportunity in here for what I do or what I've been doing, right? Like my buildup is slower in that sense. But if I do another Kickstarter for 3D printing for like another frog pod that basically has all the same logistics, my profit on another 30 grand thing is huge because I've already bought all the printers. I've done all the legwork. So like I'm going to clear like 20, 25 grand in the next, well, that's actually not correct. Call it 20. I'll clear 20 grand if I did frogpod over right now. This time I made like 5 or 6 grand,
yeah.
which sucks, but it doesn't suck because it's awesome. But so I have 3 more frog pods that I'm working on. They're super secret. I'll tell you about one of them offline. But one's really cheap. It's going to be like a $10 or $15 part if I can get the thing made. It's a machine part. It's either a machined part or 2 pieces welded together. But they're small, so it's got to be like TIG welded. And I'm not opposed to buying a TIG welder, but I've never done it. So we'll see how that goes. But the other one is like almost all 3D printed, I think. And the other one has more mechanical stuff to it. The third one has more mechanical components, and I'm not sure it actually makes sense, but I've started investigating that, and I even got some materials into play with that idea. But again, filling out like Better Keychains, filling out that category so that when someone does come for a frog pod, because that's the biggest name I have right now, they're going to see the other 3 things and be like, oh, that's cool too, and add that to the cart. That's the only reason I'm pursuing more camera mounts is to have 3 or 4 options for people. Even if I go buy suction cup mounts from China, I'm not opposed to having that listed. It's not a Kickstarter, but having that listed as an option.
Yeah, to fill out your product line.
Yeah, have lights, have 10 or 15 items in that category that work together. And those accessories, like I like those accessories. Like the lights, I bought 100 of those swivel lights that you'll be able to get in the backer kit survey. I love that light. It's a you can buy it on Amazon for $20 and go ahead, buy one on Amazon. I only have 95. I hope they sell out. But it's a good light, but that's a thing I could go source from China and put it on my website. And I'm happy with that. It's not crap. Like the ball head swivel mount, I threw them out because they were garbage, but I had like 6 different versions that I bought. before I found the one that I liked, and it's the one with the biggest ball, and it's all metal except for the plastic
Ring.
nut that
Yeah.
bumps up against the camera, but the whole thing is metal. The other ones had smaller balls, and you could just bend them. They didn't hold any weight at all, and the locking pin was so chintzy. So like I found good accessories, even though they're still super inexpensive. Um, I don't mind expanding in that way. I know you can't just go buy keychains, though. I get that. That's harder.
I mean, with the keychains, I want to have a consistent style. I want, a consistent quality and a aesthetic.
Yep.
And I want them to be like, I want to make things that are unique. Like I don't want to sell stuff that everybody else sells.
Right.
So like even my titanium split rings, they're oblong like my carabiners. They're not circles. And it actually turns out that
You're not?
my split rings, they're you're gonna get some of these in the mail too. Yeah, they're
No,
oblongs.
I have one.
Not yet, you don't. Not the new ones.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I have an old when I bought
haven't
like
sold these yet.
Oh, okay, never mind. Sorry.
Yeah, they're oblong. And it's actually a way better split ring design.
Uh-huh.
Like it just works better on a keychain because you don't need the full circle for a keychain.
Right.
I should make sure I'm using consistent terms here. A key ring or a split ring would be the equivalent.
Interesting. Well, so you do the one I have, the small, I thought it was a split ring. Maybe I'm thinking the wrong thing, but
No,
it was
so
looks like
that
it was
one was one that I got from China.
right, and you finished it?
Yeah, I just threw them in the tumbler.
Right. That's okay.
Yeah.
Well, all right. So there are things in the keychain world that you don't need to recreate, but people still want and use, and that's one of them. Right?
So I don't disagree, but I'm not going to do it that way.
That's fine.
Like I want to okay, so I will probably I'm going to buy keys and powder coat them because it's hard to get colorful keys that look nice.
Right.
I will probably not make my own keys. But key rings, they can be better. Everyone's always done the same thing forever, and we've, used the same key ring for 100 years. But
can you buy a key with like a big old blank on it? So you have the key that you need, but then you just have like this giant, like even if it was this big, and then you could CNC whatever shape you want out of that. Can you buy
I probably could, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Someone will make it for me.
I wanted a blacksmith hammer key for my friend's shop, and I couldn't find one, and I found a framing hammer key, and it's stupid. But you could make a key that looks like a I know your audience is more machinist than maker, even though we're all in the same family. Well, we're all in the same
less
family.
True than it was, but
okay. But like you could do like an Alex Steele hammer key.
Yeah.
You could play off of that, no problem. It's not even his design. It's just it's what, you know what I'm talking about. You could do a Jimmy DiResta ice pick key. That's stupid, but you get the idea.
One of the things I plan on doing is a little clamshell that goes over the end of your key that could be engraved or powder coated or whatever. Because one of the problems with keys is there's a million different kinds.
Right.
In the US, there's 6 that are relatively common depending on which region you're in.
Right.
But there's a million types of keys. But I could make a little clamshell that goes over 90% of them.
Right.
That's on my list.
Yeah.
And then on the clamshell, you could do things like a garage door or a car on it To be like, hey, this is my garage key, and then one that's like, I don't know, something to indicate that it's the front door, or something to indicate it's the back door.
Yeah, you could like write their address and social security number on it and everything.
Yeah. Or if it's like a gas station, like here's the bathroom key, or yeah.
So, all right, I don't know. I'm not asking for a solution to this, but I have a problem that nobody else has, I'm sure. I just got a PO box, and they gave me 2 keys, and I'm going to lose both of them because I won't put them on my car keychain.
Mm-hmm.
So one just sits in like the center console, and the other one has a frogpod key. I make a keychain. Do you know that?
Yeah.
The frogpod keychain. I have one over there. I'll go get it. But like, I wish there was like a secured spot where I could put important keys and label them.
Mm.
And I know there is. There's an answer to that. But like, if I had like a special place to put keys and they were easily able to be labeled, you know what I want? I want a tiny circuit breaker box that I can open. and they're all numbered and the chart is on the left side. Like, I mean that's gimmicky, but I don't know. I want a solution to that. I want like, is there a secondary keychain that I'm not going to lose? Is there a secondary ring of keys that I can take with me when I need it, but don't ever want to take with me because it's 10 keys? My trailer key is on there and all this crap, right? Don't answer it. I wish there was a cool solution to that. And sometimes, you know what sometimes the solution is? Buy a $200 carabiner that you will kick yourself if you lose and put that stuff on there, right? Like,
yeah.
Sometimes you have to like put something expensive with it. Like, that's why you buy like an expensive pen or,
yes.
Right? It's the same concept. That'd be a hell of a carabiner, but I don't know.
You could do like a quick release system that mounts to the wall, and you could just pull down one at a time or something.
You know what the real solution is? You know what it is?
A keychain frog pod for each one.
A hide a key that you hide at the post office. Or you yeah.
Or you do one of the ones that like goes in your wheel well.
Yeah,
I just leave your car.
Yeah. So the frogpod keychain, I put my I have a lock for the trailer hitch, and I put the frogpod, or I put that key on the frogpod keychain and put it under the fender of the trailer, so it's always with the trailer and I always know where it is, because they're just gonna cut the thing off before they go looking for a key, but so that does solve a problem because it's magnetic and that's cool. Anyways, I don't know. But it is cool that I have sold over 200 keychains. I don't know if you know that.
that is more than me at this point.
This is awesome. But like, well, granted, a lot of them were part of rewards. I think I sold like 60 outside of that. But I came up with that idea for the same reason we're talking about this now. I wanted a memento that people would purchase that wasn't a sticker.
Yes.
I didn't like the frogpod logo sticker. I have those. Everybody's going to get them because that's just good branding. But I didn't want to like charge $1 for that. Now, if it was like another sticker that was cool, sure. But not just for like my own brand sticker, right? You wouldn't buy an Apple sticker and put an Apple sticker on something. You would spend $3,000 on a stupid laptop and then put the sticker on something. So I wanted something like that, and I was like, oh, there's a cute idea, and I already had magnets, and I scaled it down, and I made that, and I was like, oh, it actually kind of works, and it folds up, and like just like the real thing. And I don't think anyone will ever buy one that doesn't also buy a frog pod, and I'm okay with that. But it's a $5 add-on that did way better than I thought it would. And I think a lot of people that did buy the frog pod never even saw them. So that's what Backer Kit's going to help with. I'm going to point out the carabiner. I buy really super cheap carabiners. Sorry, I do sell carabiners. I bought 1,000 for like, I don't even know what they cost. I bought 2,000. I bought two different ones. They're super cheap, but they're okay. Like they function the way I need them to, and they're okay. And people that care about that stuff are going to replace them anyway, so that's fine. The carabiner. Oh, so the carabiner to hold up like a backpack, turn the frog pod into like a backpack carrier or holder, hanger, whatever. And then the frog pod keychain, I think, has not been seen enough. But those two items, like that's $3 and $5, and I mean that's the add-ons are so important. Those are the accessories, right? Those are the accessories pay the bills. Have you ever heard that? Like even when I sold cell phones years ago, like the accessories paid the rent for the building, and the phones were the bread and butter, right? So I put a lot of emphasis on that stuff.
So I was thinking about not doing the wristlets on this one, or the key slings. Sorry, that's what we're calling them now for the on this Kickstarter, and that'll be like basically a short but wide lanyard that you can put your wrist through. It'll be stretchy.
Yep.
But now you got me thinking that I probably should do those.
I want like the paddle ball thing. I want to play with my keys. You know how like people have the college lanyards, and they're like, and they used to be more popular, I guess, but you know every college kid had one.
Yeah.
And all you do is play with it.
Yeah. That's one of the reasons why mine's elastic. There's more fiddle factor.
I think because it's elastic and you just showed it to me again is why I went there. So this is all you're doing. Make a game out of it. I mean, I even thought of that for like I wanted to do a frog pod toss where it's like horseshoes, but so you have like a stake and you have like a metal plate, and if you land on the plate, it's so many points. Like each foot that's on the plate is a point, and like if you get on the pole, it's more points. And like not to sell, but just as a fun like TikTok video.
Yeah, you could do like cornhole.
Yeah, exactly.
Prop hole.
Oh man. Yeah, but see, none of those ideas are they're not stupid. They stretch your thought process, and they can help. They can really pan out. I thought about that when the Bop It, Bop It. Bop It, twist it, pull it. So he's a real guy. Do you know him? Have you come across him?
Guy?
Yeah.
No, I did not know the Bop It guy.
Yeah, no, we're friends now. We're Instagram friends. Hold on, Bop It. He's doing a Kickstarter. All right, Bop It Inventor. Dude, I swear the guy's not even 50. And I'm rounding up because the Bop It was like 30 years ago, and I swear he was 18 when he sold this idea. But he originally, this will make sense in a minute. He originally created the Bop It to be a fun TV remote for kids.
Interesting.
And he's like, what's the coolest way to turn on the TV? What's the this audio, Bop It. What's the coolest way to change the volume? Oh, let's twist it. You twist it left and you twist it right. I'm getting all these wrong, but that's the idea. What's the way to change the channel? Let's pull this and push that and stuff like that. And that's where the idea just sat for a while until I don't know the direct connection, but basically he revisited old ideas to see if they would fit in different categories. So he He needed an idea for a toy, and he pulled from all of his ideas. He's like, well, maybe that could be a toy, you know. And that's the really abridged version there, but um, I don't know. It's just really smart to like take the idea you have and just see if it fits in other categories. Uh, yeah, you just don't know because you're so focused and so stuck in one groove.
Yeah. I wanted to do a titanium Fletcher fidget toy. That's on my list.
Fletcher,
Yeah, so that's how my carabiners work. It's called a Fletcher.
Okay, got it. Thanks.
An integrated spring, basically.
Yeah.
Because like I've been calling this product testing, but I sit there with my prototype number 1 carabiner, and I just press it over and over and over and over and over and over and over again.
Can you manufacture a great tactile feel and sound? That would be a challenge.
I could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, can you do a when you put like a machined pin in a hole and it pops? You want that?
That'd be a little bit harder, but I'm sure it's doable. That would be pretty awesome, though. If it was like a button, you pressed it down and then you released it, and it went. I didn't make the sound like I meant to. Pop. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Like you've seen all those little toys, those like fidget. They're usually magnets. One's a pill. One's has Peter McKinnon been advertising this stuff lately? Have you seen that? He's got like
not
two
specifically
little
from him, but
they're like 2 metal playing cards that he's shuffling around. They're just fidget toys.
Yeah, I talked to a guy who goes by Fidget Things on Instagram quite a bit, and that's like his bread and butter.
Some of that.
Yeah.
He does the pills?
Yes, he does the pills.
Okay. Yeah, I probably follow him because of you. Yeah, that's fun stuff. I just don't know that world that much. But yeah, if you could machine like the best sound, because here's how you market it. You just tell everyone it's the best sound. You just
hold your hand in front of the camera and you go click 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 click.
Yes,
and that's the whole video.
Yeah. Could you do a Fletcher that rides a staircase, like a zip tie?
Yeah.
Like the Fletcher,
make like a frog sound,
like it would, yeah,
or a cricket.
Yeah, cricket for lack of a better, like a cricket hand where it's like click 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 click, but it would be a better sound. I don't know what it would sound like though.
You do that.
You do a Fletcher that did that. It'd be interesting to explore that stuff because you don't know what you're making until you make it. Like you have to just make stuff. Yeah. Interesting.
We should probably wrap up here. I think Zencastr is going to cut us off at 2 hours.
Okay.
And we're at 1:58.
Thanks, man. This was great.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we should talk more often.
Yeah, I do this at least once a month, and just do a brain dump.
Yeah, brainstorming. Yeah, come up with ideas. This is gonna be I'm gonna announce something new an hour and 58 minutes into a video. Nobody's gonna see this.
I can't even talk about it. There's not enough
time. I'm starting a podcast, like an official one. Not like I played with some YouTube podcast kind of stuff, but me and Henry from gosh, I hope I just said the right name because I'm blanking on his last name. His name is hard, but he's from Precision Ingenuity. And I hope he doesn't watch this. This is really awkward. He's going to watch this, and I'm going to be in trouble. But anyway, we're doing like did you ever listen to Business of Machining?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, we're going to do a that style podcast.
Nice.
Just us talking about business.
Very cool.
But I'm sure we'll do guests, and we'll have to have you on at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. That'd be fun.
Should we wait to see what happens at the 2-hour mark? Because I think it'll cut us off.
Well, let me say thank you. And I would do this anytime. And 15, 14, 13.
This is great TV right here.
Do we keep going or do we stop? It's going to just drop off. It's just gonna cut us off. 4.
I just want to know what happens, honestly.
1. Oh, it's still going.
Oh, it's still going.
Cut it. You should cut it.
All right. Good night, everybody.